Get ready for a lot more sunshine, and this week will be warmer, just a little below average for this time of the year through the next couple of days before we really start to crank the heat up, and there's very little in the way of rain in sight. Hey everyone, I'm Chief Meteorologist Darrell Winninger from the Central Oregon Daily Weather Center. We're about to do a deep dive into your most reliable forecast. We're going to look at what's been happening across the high desert, what's expected to happen through the next couple of days, and how this is really going to be impacting us right here through Central Oregon. Now, one of the big things is sunshine is expected to continue, and with this additional sunshine, we're also looking at temperatures picking up little by little each day. And so what that really means is we're back into the 80s, then some 90s as we go forward, but we really jump into the 90s later. So starting off with looking outside, there are some clouds. Winds are mostly at a light breeze, and it's dry. There's just no rain in sight for Central Oregon. And here through the day, it's been that way. We're drying out, and now the warming begins. Today we were in the lower 80s with some 70s on the map. By tomorrow, 80s. Now, our warming trend is going to slow down a little bit, but a quick look at satellite and radar, and we do not see any precipitation anywhere near us. Now, there is a low just offshore. That low pressure system is a part of a system that is going to be impacting us, but really through tonight, some of these in and out clouds stick around, and we are staying dry for the most part. There's a low chance for a few showers in some of our highest elevations, and if that happens, some of those showers could come down the east slopes of the Cascades. Now, I really do think most of us are going to be dry. However, don't be surprised if there's a sprinkle or two if you're closer to the eastern slopes. Right now, that system is way out over the Pacific Ocean and staying there, and the reason it's being pushed back a little bit is because of our ridge of high pressure. Actually, let me back up real quick. We're going to talk about that high pressure. So currently, there's a broad ridge of high pressure out over the Pacific Ocean. A lot of activity happening around the Gulf of Alaska and East Pacific, but also there's some high pressure right around the Four Corners region and just west of the Four Corners. This high is going to backbuild into the Pacific Northwest. Now, typically, high pressure moves like everything else in our atmosphere. We expect it to go from the west to the east, but sometimes, like today and the next couple of days, we do expect it to be a little bit different, and that's what's happening. That back building is actually going to bring us a whole lot of heat with no rain in sight, and with these dry conditions, it does look like not only are temperatures going to pick up even more, but so will our fire danger. It's going to be rising. So a quick look at one of our forecast models. This is the high resolution model, and it does show that there are some clouds over the high desert as of 4 p.m. That really clears out, and after midnight it's going to be mostly clear. So let's open this graphic up. Let's take this little by little, and these clouds stick around. Now, embedded in those clouds, that's where we could have a few of these sprinkles through parts of the Tri-County area, but after midnight we're back to clear, and then radiational cooling sets up. Now, since we have the blanket of cloud cover that's going to be very hit and miss with some periods of clearing, we are going to be slow to cool down, but once we get rid of the clouds, it cools down pretty quickly. And then here through the day tomorrow, we start off sunny, some midday clouds, and then by the afternoon, a few clouds over the Cascades, and some of that is going to bring us some light showers through the mountains, mostly in the highest elevation. That starts to come down the east slopes of the mountains, but I don't think we're looking at too much in the lower elevations, and then by Tuesday night, clearing back out. By Wednesday, mostly sunny with some PM clouds. Now, when it comes to relative humidity, typically this time of the year, we're in the 20s and teens, maybe even some single digits. Right now, we're in the 30s with a few 40s and a couple 20s. Remember, all of these numbers are percentages because that's how relative humidity is measured. And for the most part today, in the last 24 hours, I should say, temperatures did top out in the 80s with a few 70s on the map, and this is very indicative of what we're seeing right now. And that means that temperatures have been running a little warmer than it was 24 hours ago, but not by much. We're talking 0 to 5 degrees warmer, and a few spots are even slightly cooler than it was this time on Sunday. Now, temperatures are going to be dipping back into the 40s with some 50s on the map here through this evening, and by tomorrow, we're back into the mid-80s. So that represents a slight bump in temperatures, similar to what we had today. And then going forward, we're looking at 80s with very high UV intensity forecast expected by Tuesday. Now, some clouds near that low chance of a few sprinkles, but then after that, our UV intensity forecast is going to be going up as we get towards Thursday and Friday. So for tomorrow, we're looking at highs mostly in the 80s, tons of sunshine, some PM clouds, and there was that sprinkles word on there, most of that in the mountains. Then by Wednesday, fewer clouds, breezy at times, 80s and a few 90s, so temperatures staying a little below average for this time of the year. And by Thursday, we're through the 80s and reaching into the 90s for parts of the high desert. So there's going to be a bigger warming trend on the way. But from today through Wednesday, we're staying kind of stagnant with temperatures mostly in the 80s, some 70s today. By tomorrow, a few 90s. By Wednesday, a few 70s and 90s possible. It's not until Thursday, Friday, and Saturday that temperatures really begin to crank up, and that heating trend is because of the ridge of high pressure that's out over the Four Corners region. That's what's going to build into our area. So let's back up a graphic. Let's look at this one again. Our high pressure is to the southeast of this camera. Tomorrow will be warm with some sprinkles possible and tons of sunshine outside of the afternoon clouds. By Wednesday, that high pressure over the Four Corners region sets up to backbuild into the Pacific Northwest, and then by Thursday, we really start to bring the heat. So that's going to be the big difference, is when that high pressure starts to build in, and at this point, looks like it's later in the work week. So between now and Wednesday at 11 p.m., we have two high pressures that are going to be building over the area. First, the Pacific high comes in, and by Wednesday at 11 p.m., our high pressure that's going to be pushing through as far as Thursday, that's still over the Four Corners region. That starts to build into the Pacific Northwest Wednesday night going into Thursday. And so ultimately we keep it dry, but for the most part, we're not looking at too much more than a few sprinkles overnight getting into tomorrow. By Tuesday, sunny, becoming mostly sunny to partly cloudy by the afternoon. A few sprinkles possible, but they'll be few and far between. By Wednesday, some PM clouds, and by Thursday, that's when we're looking at the sunshine. That sunshine stays in through the day, and it's not until late Friday that it starts to bring us a little bit more cloud cover. So going forward through Thursday night and Friday, we're dry. By Friday, a few PM clouds are going to be possible, mostly in the evening. By Saturday, some in and out cover, dry. By Sunday, a few light showers aren't out of the question. It's part of a system that's well to our south. That's that if it jogs any further to the west as it moves through, then we could be getting a few more showers. But for the most part, that's the best chance of any rain. By Monday, we're back to sunshine. So between now and Tuesday at 7 a.m., a few of those sprinkles in the higher elevations, and after that, we're just staying dry as we go forward all the way through the rest of the work week. So for tonight, we are falling back into the 50s and 40s. Winds are going to be tapering, and right now gusts aren't too bad. 15, maybe 20 miles per hour in a few spots where you see the green. But then look at this. Our actual wind speeds are even lighter, about 5 to 15 miles per hour. Now here, through the overnight hours, it does get breezy this evening, even gusty at times, mostly between 5 p.m. and sunset, which is about 8 p.m. tonight. And then after 8 p.m., winds come back down to a light breeze. By Tuesday, another round of breezy conditions during the afternoon and evening, and by Wednesday, mostly a light breeze, 5 to 15 miles per hour, that's about it. So for tonight, 50s and some 40s. Early clouds thin out by the morning, giving way to mostly clear conditions by the time we're starting the day. And then by Tuesday, some PM clouds, 80s with a few 90s. Now here's your 7-day planner. We are looking at tons of sunshine through the next several days. By tomorrow, temperatures pick up a little bit more than they don't move too much through Wednesday. The warm-up slows down, and then by Thursday, that's when we're looking at bringing the heat. Then we're through the 80s into the 90s Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, even Monday with that next dip in temperatures. We're still in the 90s, and Sunday does hold that low chance of a few showers depending on how that weekend system, whether how it moves, whether it comes a little closer to us or whether it moves a little further away. Now, when it comes to our headlines for this Monday, August the 18th, sunshine and very dry conditions are expected. Warmer temperatures are on the way, so enjoy this mild taste of summer through the next couple of days with mid-80s, some lower 80s, few 90s, couple 70s, not out of the question, because once we hit Thursday, we're cranking up the thermostat and it's getting hot. Now, some in and out PM clouds are expected, but even going past the 7-day planner, we're staying above average for our temperatures. So, in recap, right now, Temperatures are in the 80s with some 70s, and there is just no rain in sight. In fact, our cameras show just a couple of clouds through parts of the Tri-County area, and those are dry clouds. That's the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News. We'll have the latest headlines and your most reliable forecast. See you then.